During the revision process, one of the most important things you can do to improve the quality of your writing is to make it more concise. According to William Strunk and E.B. White, who wrote one of the most influential style guides of the 20th century, a sentence should contain no unnecessary words, a paragraph no unnecessary sentences, for the same reason that a drawing should have no unnecessary lines and a machine no unnecessary parts. Essentially, what they are arguing is that you should eliminate any garbage from your writing that doesn't work to achieve your purpose. And on the surface, this seems like commonsensical advice. However, when you start to think about it, it becomes much more complex. Take the example of a car. On the surface, it's relatively easy to identify what would qualify as unnecessary. A car shouldn't have 5 wheels, it shouldn't have wings, and so forth. However, once you look underneath the hood, you are greeted with a bunch of gadgets and gizmos that only a trained engineer or mechanic can identify. In other words, if you want to figure out what counts as unnecessary, you need to learn as much as you can about the situation. If you want to write a resume, you need to spend time learning about the business environment, what business people consider important, what they value in an applicant, and other such things. And that brings us to the cardinal rule about writing. It's always situational. You need to learn how to modify your writing practices to meet the needs of each new situation you encounter. For the moment, I'm going to assume that most of you are writing for school. In fact, I'm willing to bet many of you are in a freshman English course or some other writing class. That being the case, there are some things that drive most English teachers nuts, and I recommend that you avoid these habits in most cases. Let's start by talking about adverbs. Adverbs are words that modify anything other than a noun in a sentence. For example, adverbs include words such as excitedly, merrily, happily, and so forth. A long time ago, I had a creative writing teacher that told me, verbs are worth $1, nouns are worth 50 cents, adjectives are worth a nickel, and adverbs are worth a lowly penny. And she said this in order to get across the message that adverbs usually add little meaning to your sentences. So in most cases, you could just eliminate them entirely without affecting your overall message. Let's look at a simple sentence. After the fight with his uncle, the man angrily walked out of the room. In this case, the writer should ask, do I really need to specify that he walked out angrily? After all, if the man just got done fighting with his uncle, won't the reader already assume that he is mad? In addition, if it is important to clarify the man was angry, the writer should probably just go with a more descriptive verb. For example, she might say, after the fight with his uncle, the man stormed out of the room. In addition to eliminating adverbs, there are also many redundant phrases that we use in our daily speech. In some cases, several words are used to express an idea that could be stated in just one. For example, take the following sentence. The detective interviewed each and every person involved in the crime. In this case, the phrase each and every could be reduced to a single word. You could just say, the detective interviewed every person involved in the crime. The English language is filled with such phrases like circle around, one and the same, and surrounding circumstances. Therefore, be on the lookout for them when editing your prose. Finally, watch out for common phrases that don't contribute to the overall meaning of a sentence. For example, some students are nervous about expressing their opinions, so they sometimes preface their ideas with I think. Take the following sentence. I think that most arguments against the death penalty hinge on the claim that all people are equally deserving of fair treatment. The phrase I think is probably unnecessary. After all, you wrote the essay, so your reader should be aware that these are your ideas. In addition, overusing I think can make you seem unconfident. Therefore, in most situations, I think can be removed from your prose. In addition to I think, our everyday speech is filled with other phrases that don't contribute to a sentence's overall meaning, such as a matter of fact, for all intents and purposes, and in the event that. Watch out for these phrases and try to avoid them. If you ever need more help on how to make your prose more concise, feel free to visit us at the Writing Center. We're located on the 3rd floor of the Ekstrom Library. You can schedule an appointment either by visiting our Writing Center website or calling us at 852-2173. Let me close with a parting piece of advice. When I'm writing, I often find myself struggling with the sentence. I tinker with it, agonize over it, reword it, only to figure out, much to my dismay, that it was not necessary and I could delete it. If you find yourself in this situation, don't subject yourself to this torture. Just get rid of the sentence and move on. You probably didn't need it.